and time again.
Marshall,
rigid thinkers become brittle survivors.
Okay, so if we have some sort of lead time up to these events, would you say that it would be advisable for people to say, go out there and max their charge cards out, because the credit card companies aren't going to exist when meteorites start smashing into Bank One and such? I mean, so should we get everything that we need when we see, like, say it's coming, just go buy everything that we need?
Well, if you're going to, by that time, they're going to be slapping down on it. But if you're going to go and you feel the need to go burn up your credit cards, don't go buy shoes and vacations. Go buy beans.
But I'm just saying, will there be enough time, will there be an occasional rogue pre-comet hitting the Earth, and maybe 3 or 4, and then a couple tsunamis? I mean, at that point, people should realize that, indeed, something is coming.
Well, it's interesting. You ever heard of Major Ed Dames?
Yeah, certainly.
Remote viewer. Now, what he says, and it really stands to reason. I think it's excellent. And he says the wake-up call, where this whole gets everybody's attention, and not an absolute wake-up call like Katrina was a wake-up call. We quit with this nonsense about, yes, our planet is changing. We're not certain exactly why it's changing, but it is, and it's changing for the worse. And that was the point where most of us got it. There's still diehards that are, nothing's going to happen.
Right.
But what he's saying is that we're going to know the guacamole is going to hit the fan once a space shuttle or the International Space Station is knocked out of the sky by meteorites.
Okay.
And that's when we're going to know, because if it's at that point, we're not only, this goes back to what we say in the book, is that we're going to see communication satellites going down. We're going to see our civilized world breaking apart more and more and more. But the denial is going to keep on going. So it's something where, and human denial is a very, very, very powerful force.
Yes.
So I understand that all that I do and all that I talk about, I could only hope to ever reach the smallest fraction of people who actually will listen to their own inner voice and take action and do it. And for the rest of them, they're just going to go, well, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. And when Marshall, they do get there, the bridge is gone.
Okay, Marshall, do you feel, let's cue in on that right there, because when it comes down to it, it seems that, of course, as you said so well, that it is each individual's responsibility. Is it possible then that people, if they sort of tune in, you mentioned an inner voice, what would they be looking for in that inner voice? Something that says, go buy something now, or don't make that purchase now, or go here now. What does that voice sound like? What is that inner voice?
Well, it is getting in touch. Now, it's for different people, come at it different ways. For those that are extremely religious, they pray on it, and they listen for inspiration from God. All right?
Did you say extremely religious?
Religious or extremely religious. I'm a secular person, so for me it's a different thing.
Well,
right?
the extreme people would be the bitter people, would they not?
The bitter people?
Yeah. As Barack Obama said, they turned to religion, so they're bitter.
Wow. Well, I
just took a left turn there, Marshall.
Yeah, and I'm standing next to the third rail and the train's coming.
By the way, where's your secret hideout?
Where's my... No. But thank you for trying.
I'm going to get you. Okay, you're on it, though. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're talking about.
Definitely not going to reveal that.
Yeah, okay, so some people can turn to prayer. Let's get back to that. Here we go.
Yeah. All right, let me talk to you. I had a fellow, his name is Dr. Rand. He does a book on wormwood, and he really addresses this from a standpoint of the Christian listeners. I can only talk to it from those that are more secular. What I would say is that if if you're listening to your guides, you're listening to that inner voice, whatever inner voice, your moral compass inside you, and that's important. And another thing is that there are going to be people around you that are dying. This is going to be an event of horrific death, and if you are approaching death with this, we have a very negative view of it, and it wrenches us, and we go hysterical, and we get crying, and we become incompetent, really. On the other hand, if you're seeing it as an event, an evolutionary event, just simply, this is Hotel California. Home is on the other side. All right? And when people are dying and they're crossing over, it's a very powerful time. And this is when your loved ones are going to want to, as they're ascending, they're going to want to be able to speak to you and say, go to the north. It's safe that way.
Really?
Avoid the south. All right? It may sound silly, but those are the kind of things. You ask people who work hospice care, particularly those who specialize in end-of-life hospice care, and they will tell you that the moment of death is incredibly powerful, incredibly spiritual. When people are leaving their bodies, their spirit is moving on, and they want to be able to communicate. They want to convey knowledge because now they're seeing things, and they want to tell you about it. And if you're busy sitting there screaming and yelling and pulling out your hair, they can't give you that information. No. So these are the kind of things. This is a spiritual event. You can dig all the bunkers you want, but what's going to get you through this is your ability to find oneness. All right, to be quiet and to hear those inner voices, because they're there and they're going to want to help you. They're going to want to give you that information. However you call that. You call it God, Yahweh, Spirit Guide, channeling, Creator, whatever it is.
Yang.
That's your secret weapon.
Buddha. What about
Buddha? Whatever.
He's in on it. You know Buddha's there. He all about it. I'm just wondering, in their place where there's like a 50-foot Buddha, I wonder if that would be a safer place with you have a bigger Buddha.
The bigger Buddha?
Yeah, the bigger Buddha, the more safety that you'll have.
Well, that's a Flabazian view, yeah.
Listen, this is the Edge. You may not have been interviewed on a show quite like this, so I'm glad you're doing rather well too, by the way.
Well, thank you. I'm having fun.
Well, that's the point. Maybe it's time for a break because when big planetoids are escaping their gravitational fields and such and driving across the planetary scheme of things, crossing the universe and the black holes, and you're going to hit a few aliens on the way, I'm sure. Boom! It's going to be ugly. We got to lighten it up just a tad.
That's right. There goes the neighborhood.
All right.
It's rough.
So let me ask you something though. It was interesting when the tsunami hit in Indonesia. The people did go running into the forest because the animals, I guess, went first for some of them. So wouldn't that be animals worldwide? Wouldn't we see, say, not the east, well, maybe the east coast, but wouldn't animals start moving into the midsection? If we see a herd of elk or something running through the Midwest there, wouldn't we know?
Yeah, for example, folks that live in an earthquake-prone area like California, if all of a sudden the birds disappear and the cats disappear and the dogs start disappearing, all the animals are going. And the bees. That's it. A shaker's coming. Make sure you got bottled waters and batteries.
Right.
But, for example, in Yellowstone, before that event, you're going to see the herd stampeding. They're going to know something's up, and they're going to be beating feet to get out of there. So if you're watching the wildlife and even domesticated animals to a certain extent, they're able to, they're aware on levels that we're not. They're able to hear things we can't see. They're able to see things we can't. They have senses that are far beyond our own, and they're going to be tuned into that. And animals are in the moment. They're not going to stand there and look at it like we do and rationalize it and go, well, let's see. Is this consistent with what I read yesterday in the morning paper? No, they're going to just see it and go, hey, feet don't fail me now. And they're going to know which way to go. Well, and we have to do the same thing. We have to be in the moment.
Yeah. Or you think that the disappearing bees, you think they know something? They getting the heck out of there already?
Gosh, well, it's unnerving. Einstein said when the bees go, we've got 4 or 5 years,
really?
And the bees are disappearing. And what they're saying, what we found, I was researching that, and they're really not conclusive. What they seem to be saying is that the bees are just dying off from immune deficiencies, that we have polluted the environment so thoroughly that their ability to resist common diseases and viruses has been so significantly diminished that that's what's taking them. It's a serious thing.
Yeah, Marshall, by the way, Randy wants to know, could you repeat those 2 videos that you recommend?
The 2 videos that everyone, I think, should watch, and just put that information in your mind. It's useful information. The first one is What the bleep do we